The relationship between Buck and Eddie may finally be taking shape on 911, but I'm concerned about the potential path they may take. In Season 2, Ryan Guzman joined the cast of 911 as Eddie Diaz, and he immediately became close to Evan Buckley, played by Oliver Stark. Even though Buck and Eddie have remained best friends, there has always been a sense that something more could happen between them, especially after 911 Season 7 revealed that Buck is bisexual. However, the seeds for Eddie's current storyline, moving to Texas, were planted that same season. The core of 911 is its ensemble cast and the dynamically changing relationships amongst the members of the 118 Firehouse, even though the show's basic premise centers on severe disasters that are attended to by emergency services. Despite their general inseparability, Buck and Eddie have experienced disagreements and difficult times during 911. But at least thus far, Buck and Eddie's relationship has triumphed over all challenges. Instead of turning into the greatest slow burn on television or the office romance on 911, Eddie is moving to Texas to make amends with his son Christopher, Gavin McHugh, unintentionally leaving Buck behind in the process. In 911 Season 8, Episode 10, Buck's conflicted feelings about Eddie leaving reach a breaking point. The episode concludes with Buck helping Eddie load the last of his boxes onto a truck and bidding him farewell, despite the fact that most of the scenes focus on Buck's sister Maddie, Jennifer Love Hewitt. Even though Eddie is the one departing, the way the camera tracks Buck's facial expressions highlights his feelings throughout the scene. In contrast to Buck's obvious destruction, Eddie's entire manner seems much more composed and aloof. Any friend would be saddened by Eddie's departure in 911 Season 8, but context is crucial. Season 8 of 911 has already set up Eddie's exit to make Buck feel something. Even though he hasn't given it a name yet, Buck loves Eddie, which is the main reason he struggled to deal with where Eddie truly belongs in 911. The farewell scene actually reads more like a breakup than a bittersweet parting of two best friends because Buck's feelings are so central to Eddie's poignant story. The smallest details, such as the fact that Buck bakes Eddie cookies, a habit he developed after being dumped, show that he has more feelings for Eddie than he admits. There were numerous narrative and visual parallels to Buck's experience losing his girlfriend, Abby, Connie Britton, throughout the two-part return of 911 Season 8. Abby was the first main character to leave 911 after Buck, and she started dating in Season 1. In the season finale, Abby left to travel to Ireland. The 118 attempted to convince Buck that Abby had permanently left, both LA and him, during his first arc in 911 Season 2, but Buck remained at her house and waited for her to return. Now that Eddie is gone, Buck is feeling a sense of déjà vu. The shot of Buck in the road after Eddie drives away is the most obvious parallel in Voices. It looks eerily similar to the scene in Season 1 where Buck was waiting outside the airport after Abby left. The shot of Buck and Abby driving in Season 1 is exactly aligned with the scene earlier in the episode where Buck and Eddie are in the car looking for Maddie. Buck sees Eddie as more than just a friend, at least in his subconscious mind, as evidenced by the facial expressions Oliver Stark makes during the farewell scene, which are reminiscent of Buck losing his first love at the airport in 911. In 911 Season 8, Buck won't be able to avoid a feelings realization if he is on the verge of one. Since Buck is renting Eddie's house in 911, he will be unable to ignore his complicated emotions, even if he is with his best friend in Texas. By finally addressing Buddy without making them a canon couple, 911 appears to be trying to have it both ways, even though it's possible that the plot was introduced to eventually have Eddie return Buck's feelings. Regretfully, it would be a grave error to allow Buck to break his own heart. The synergy that Buck and Eddie have on the job cannot be replicated, even if 911 Season 8 has an Eddie replacement. Eddie will most likely return to Los Angeles at some point, and their friendship will be destroyed if he doesn't reciprocate Buck's feelings. 911 might be condemning its best pairing to a lifetime of awkwardness and lost opportunities if they don't manage it perfectly. 911 could just naturally move Buck and Eddie into romance, but using unrequited love to crush Buddy's dreams would be needlessly harsh and ultimately hurt the characters more than it would help.